Everybody, we're Team 2, and we're going to talk about this week's TED Talk. My name's Elena Kazis.
Harry Campbell.
I'm Ryan Flipsick.
And I'm Kaylee McGowan.
First, let's briefly go over some of the key points that was talked about in this week's video. Attention, manipulation, social impacts, outcomes, and the call for responsibility when it comes to things like AI and all these advancements in technology that we're seeing nowadays. With this, millennials are one of the first generations to grow up with these new technological advancements like the internet really taking a turn, the iPhone, having social media platforms, and the exposure to these things have shaped a very positive relationship with them and technology. Studies have found that actually over 74% of millennials believe new technology makes their lives easier, and 54% of them feel that it helps them stay connected with friends and family. So, because millennials are highly fluent and comfortable with these digital tools, they tend to have a more positive view on how technology enhances their lives compared to other generations. So, with the rapid growth of AI, we're seeing it evolve faster than we can fully understand it or control it. So, with this rapid development, it really excites millennials, but it also kind of creates a sense of vulnerability for them. Their positive associations with technology, coupled with the excitement of this new innovation, can sometimes cloud their awareness and lead to potential risks that are involved with this technology. So let's talk about the why. Like I said, this newness of technology causes excitement for them. Studies show that attitudes towards new technologies are crucial in shaping how people interact with them. So if someone has a negative view of AI, they are less likely to adopt to it. But conversely, as millennials are, having a positive attitude towards AI makes them more open to it. So, this positive view of AI, while beneficial in terms of adapting to it, can also make millennials more vulnerable in the long run. And intended harms that come with these technologies are more exposed to them. This was heavily talked about in the TED Talk. It's not just the AI that's evolving that's the growing concern, it's more about who's using it and how they're using it. So, this is a very powerful tool, AI. And in the video, it warns us it's not what artificial intelligence will do with us on its own, but it's how the people in power will use this artificial intelligence. Millennials, with their trusting and open nature towards technology, are prime targets to this kind of manipulation. And research is showing that manipulators often look for individuals who are insecure and sensitive and overly trusting. These traits make them more vulnerable to influence, especially when they fully aren't aware of all the risks that come with it. Understanding these risks and acknowledging the balance between innovation and caution is really crucial to ensuring that technology serves us rather than exploits us.
Next up, we have consumer protection measures. There are quite a few measures that can be taken, and most of them involve regulations through governments. The first one that mostly popped out to me was requiring consent to collect data and to use the data. Starting at is mostly in the EU is where that is popular in, because the EU just tends to have a lot of regulations about personal rights when it comes to technology. And looking at the United States, we don't really have the greatest laws for consumer protections online, specifically with AI and algorithms. So to look at a basis, there is the Privacy Act of 1974. This was about the government collecting data. And when this act passed, it forced the government agencies that collected it not to be able to disclose this data aside from like censuses, except for censuses. And we can look at that as a background to make a new law. Another one would be the California Consumer Privacy Act, which requires companies to allow consumers the right to know what personal information a business collects and to whom it is sold to, the right to delete personal information collected by the business, and the right to opt out of the sale of personal information. What this does is companies that operate in California have to obviously disclose that they are collecting the data and just keep disclosing everything and essentially do what the EU is doing and give the rights to the consumer rather than the company. Obviously, this is just for the state of California, so the federal government could also look at this and try to create a consent for collection of the data on a more national level rather than just one state. Next is limiting the use of AI and algorithms. This one is just, there isn't much on it in general. Recently, under the Biden administration, they published a blog about the AI Bill of Rights, and a lot of it was about consent, again, and safety online. But one big one was just how AI can be discriminatory. In the TED Talk, the speaker talked about AI and algorithms finding that people with bipolar might be more likely to buy a ticket to Las Vegas, and the AI was able to target that as an issue and go with it. So what this Bill of Rights would do is maybe prevent the pushing of like certain illnesses or race or sex or anything like that that can be discriminated against, and just have algorithms not be allowed to focus in on that as a characteristic. I found 2 cases of this that were severe use of algorithms that were discriminatory. The first one was in 2017. Amazon had a algorithm looking at a resume, and it kept declining female applicants for this resume during the resume process, because Amazon tended to have a policy that was more male dominated for taking workers. And this allowed the AI to look at that and be more cautious when choosing women, and they would look for specific things like competing in women's sports. Another case was with facial recognition, and the AI algorithm was quite well at recognizing gender based on race, or I'm sorry, gender and race of a person. And the way it was doing that was people that tended to be lighter skinned was easier to identify the gender, whereas women with darker skin, the AI had a problem with facial recognition.
So I'm going to be talking about what the most positive aspects are for customers in the collection of customer data. So the first thing I kind of wanted to point out was, through some research, I found that there are several different kinds of data that companies can obtain about customers. And those things would be, first, self-reported data, which is when we as consumers offer up our information voluntarily. And this can be through our email address, our phone number, our age, our gender, etc. The second is digital exhaust, which is stuff like our location data or our browsing history. And then the third is profiling data, which is how AI uses that information on us to make predictions about our interests and our behaviors. And after the TED Talk, I'm sure a lot of us were pretty scared with the power of AI. But there are some great positive aspects for customers, and that's what we're going to get into. So the speaker of the TED Talk said that we use digital platforms because they provide us with great value, and we can see that value in a number of ways. The first being personalized experiences or relevant recommendations. I found a quote that said that over 3/4 of customers said that after receiving personalized communications, that was a key factor in prompting their consideration of a brand. And 78% said that such content made them more likely to repurchase. Additionally, I found that 71% of consumers expect companies to deliver personalized interactions, and 71%, and then 76% get frustrated when that does not happen. Some thoughtful touch points that companies could use to really stir this positive experience would be checking in after a purchase, sending how-to videos, or asking customers to write a review. And these all generate positive experiences and positive brand perceptions with customers. The second is improved customer service, which we're kind of talking on right now. But basically, by syncing customer responses with the company's flows, they're more likely to generate positive satisfaction levels and retention rates. An example of this could be if a customer leaves a negative review on something that they've purchased, the company can use that data to understand what happened and then send the support team to make it right and offer solutions. And this could really demonstrate that Company value customer feedback and provide that excellent service. The last thing is interconnectedness. And the author of the TED Talk really did kind of touch on this and how AI helps us build communities online. But I found that 64% of consumers say that their loyalty to a brand increases when they feel connected. And I think that that's something that companies can do really well by leveraging data for customers, and that can help them build communities of similar individuals who share the same interests and behaviors. And a couple of examples I found, the first is Spotify. Spotify uses something called blend playlists, where they create specialized playlists between two people, combining the different music tastes of each to kind of explore each other's music tastes. And then the app Yelp uses your customer data location to recommend restaurants or businesses that other consumers have enjoyed in your area. And this is really helping create a network of shared experiences all over the world. The balancing of concerns, so between positive experiences and really balancing the concerns of AI. The author of the TED Talk, or the speaker rather, stated that we have to face and try to deal with the lack of transparency created by the proprietary algorithms. And yes, the benefits of AI and of consumer data collection are great, but companies really do need to balance these with privacy, as Harry talked about. The first thing I wanted to say was with trust and transparency. When companies prioritize transparency, they respect consumer autonomy and they build that foundation of trust. The second is privacy versus personalization. Protecting consumer privacy means giving us control, like clear opt-in options, and these opt-in choices could empower consumers, making them more comfortable with that personalization. And the last is informed consent. Providing clear explanations of how and why our data is used helps create that clear, positive relationship with consumers and makes them feel valued and safe. So I'll pass it along to Ryan next.
Kaylee just talked about what the most positive aspect for a customer is in the collection of customer data, so I'm going to talk about it in more of a business sense. So first is collecting customer data really gives a business a competitive edge. It allows them to have more effective outreach sources. So that means their audience is segmented, and so it means their sales are really effective and they get better marketing strategies than they would otherwise. In addition to this, there is a better customer experience that is provided through these businesses. So they track data to tailor their products and services to meet the customer needs. And they do this by looking through their preferences, the feedback they give, and then the behaviors that the customers exhibit. So they look into all these three forms and they decide how to tailor products to what they'd like. And then lastly, the customers feel seen and appreciated through this, and this allows them to grow a customer base. And then next is they have an enhanced targeting through the collecting of customer data. So reaching the right people at the right time, they make sure they really know who to reach at a certain time of year, or just when they're bringing out these products, or the type of people. So that comes with market efficiency. If they are using the market in the right way, they should be able to find these people right when they're supposed to. Then with these, finding the right people, they brings their targeted strategies. So they send out these personalized messages to all these customers that resonate with them and are going to make them want to buy their product. Next, they have product development is another positive aspect for businesses, as there are many opportunities that can be found through feedback and trends. So they can see what customers like and what they don't like and use that to kind of develop new products. And so then they're also developed before oversaturation, so they can be used more than others companies' products will be. And then they also keep the company ahead of the curve. Same thing with oversaturation. They're selling their products before other companies do. Then lastly, informed decision making. Informed decision making is another thing that is a positive aspect for businesses, as there are more efforts to be precise with collecting data, because data is more precise than just normal methods. And then promoting related products and services. There's a lot of things that can be promoted through that. And that's it. Thank you.